Backpack Broadcasting continues to bring you the best original sports content, but now you can get more of the content you love. For as little as $3 a month, you can get access to bonus content, including behind-the-scenes footage and interviews from the Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, or the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. All this exclusive content comes via Patreon. There are tiered levels of patronage, and each Backpack Broadcasting patron receives exclusive perks. Your support helps Backpack Broadcasting create more of the original content that you love. Visit Backpack Broadcasting's Patreon page and become a patron today. From the Gotham Podcast Studio, Ain't Hard to Tell Podcast, episode 88, and we have a round table, I guess you could say, 5 people here, and so we're calling this episode the Top 5 episode, and what we're doing, we're actually not even going to talk any sports today in this episode. We're going to talk straight hip-hop. A lot of times you get this conversation around, it'll be, who's your top 5 rappers? Who's your top 5 this or whatever? So I've wanted to do this for a while. We got 5 people here. I figure let's see who the top 5 rappers are. I think Brian's is pretty predictable because we know
Freddie Gibbs is
not. No, he's not
right.
there.
It's going to be Freddie Gibbs.
Wait, favorite MCs or best ever?
I told you, it's whatever your criteria is for your top 5, whatever top means to you.
I might need to make a couple changes.
So I just wanted to say that for people that if they listen to this, don't come at Jarod, who's with us from the 7 Footers Podcast.
No doubt.
Don't come at Nabaté from Bros Part or my man Jamal from the Bros Part. Whatever they have is what the rappers that they love. We're just here to have a good hip hop discussion. This is not to be combative, as you've maybe seen us on some of our NBA discussions.
I got my list.
Brian has a list. He probably will change it about 5 times because that's what he does. I also would like to let everybody know, the way we're doing these lists, you are allowed in one slot to have a tie. Okay, so if you want to have rappers tied in a slot that is allowed, we are allowed to do that. All right, so we're talking about whatever it means to you, 5 best rappers, MCs, whatever you want to call it, of all time. Jarod, I'm going to kick it off with you. Who's coming in the number 5 spot for you?
Coming in number 5 for me is Slick Rick.
Nice.
Little MC Ricky D for all you folks out
there. You guys don't seem impressed, huh? I'm looking around the room.
I'm impressed he named him. Seriously. I mean, top 5 is a high bar, but he's nice.
It is. So
he's one of the best ever for sure.
Here's how I did it.
Yeah, qualify.
Because music is so subjective, right? And so I did it partly for overall impact, partly for your lyrical skills, but also music. And the one thing I think we can all agree on is music is so emotive. It makes you feel a certain type of way. And so why Slick Rick is so high for me and why he means so much to me is I grew up in a very religious, very strict household, right? No secular music whatsoever allowed. It was 1988. And if it was secular music, it was Motown, Michael Jackson, like that. And they were very, like, that's all I could listen to.
You fell in love with Treated Like a Prostitute. I got a story about that.
I bet you do.
I'm sure you do.
So it's 88, and I'm on a field trip, and my boy has his Walkman. He's like, yo, man, you got to check out this song. It's by this guy, Slick Rick. And I'm like, who the hell's that? Like, I don't know who these people are. Like, I'm not allowed to listen.
And what that kid say to you? Like, how do you not know who Slick Rick is?
I'm like, I'm 10 years old. Like, how you don't Ricky? I'm like, nah, man, I'm not allowed to listen to that music, whatever. Yo, I heard Mona Lisa on tape, and I was like, yo, this sounds incredible.
Huh.
And then I played that whole album, and it's just storytelling, man. The way Rick can tell a story. And I mean, look, we're all journalists, and what do? We tell stories for a living. I've always been in love with stories. I'm like, man, this guy can tell stories. I mean, just everything about it. Like, I love, like, bedtime story at the end when the kids are like, that Uncle Ricky sure is weird. Right? Like, I'm just like, yeah, that dude is weird. But, like, you can see the whole thing. Yo, he was uptown.
Ill story.
I was like, yo, this
now,
is.
How did you bump this album? Because you couldn't really listen to it in the crib.
So, my boy made me a dub tape. And I asked for a Walkman for Christmas that year. So, I'm like, what kind of. She didn't buy me no tapes, whatever. So,
She thought she was playing that gospel.
Yeah, she thought I was. Yo, at night, I'll put the headphones off, sneak my little dub tape out, put it on. I'm like, yo, it is fire.
Yo, I love that. I love that.
And so for me, because that was my first real introduction into, I'm like, this is my guy. And
wait,
so,
I got to tell the story. I don't know how old I was. Probably like 11, 12, something like that. Slick Rick treated, whatever that album was, treated like Great Adventures of Slave.
Yeah, Adventures of Slave,
So
right there.
my boy Damani, that's my man, like my best friend growing up. We're going out for his birthday. His parents in the car with us, but I had given him that album as a present, as his birthday present.
Dope present.
His pops was like, "Oh, what's this?" Puts it in.
Oh,
The first joint is treated like a prostitute.
Oh no!
They were like, "What kind of?" I was like,
And now you know why I wasn't allowed to write this stuff.
That blew your mind. That
"Parents,
blew his
his
father's mind
parents
another
treat
way.
the first thing, treat her like a
Yeah.
prostitute."
Yeah.
That's
I'm
right.
like,
Yep, the first. Yep,
That was
the
the
hook.
introduction.
And we can argue about hip hop and misogyny and all that at a later
Right.
date, but honestly,
That's 3 episodes.
but for me, it was literally, I'm like, yo, this cat could tell a story.
And you love the storytelling. So
And I was like,
that's why
and
you
you'll
got
see
him
by my
there.
list, you'll be like, man, you like storytellers, don't you?
Okay,
All right,
so
who's
we'll
number
see.
5 is next?
You're next.
Damn.
Yeah, what do you think we're going to skip over? you?
Damn, I thought we were going around.
Now,
Yeah,
this should
go
be
this way.
interesting because you're the youngest person here, but you have an old soul hip hop flavor for the most part.
He has a
So-
brother who's around our age, so.
Yes.
5th favorite MC ever, and this is off the top of the head. Well, I wrote it down,
How's it off the top of your head if you wrote it down?
but like it was short. Whatever. Royce the 5'9".
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
Royce the 5'9".
Okay.
And
That's your guy.
He's somebody I actually did grow up listening to. So he's one of these guys. He's one of the few guys that I actually like caught at the right time, so to speak. Because Boom came out when I was like 5, 6 years old or something like that.
That's a very aggressive song that fits you.
Shocking. Shocking. And, Brian is, you are who you are, my man.
And we love you for that.
We love it.
We love you for
it.
that.
Yeah.
I can
not
see
even
little
that
you saying boom, bam, goddamn.
Brian at home like, I'm going to knock that out when I see him.
No, I'm not even that aggressive. I'm just all right, guys. All right, we're gonna keep doing this. All right. So, but Royce the 5'9", like this is sort of my barometer, right? Did I buy your album? I'm someone who used to actually buy albums, like physical
Right.
copies of albums.
As we
I
did.
bought Success Is Certain. I bought the first Slaughterhouse album predominantly because he and Joe Budden were on it, and Joel Ortiz, who I also really liked. So I have album Street Hop also I bought, and I have like a lot of his catalog. Like the guys who I have on my list is they make to me personally like very, very timeless stuff. Royce the 5'9's in that category, and I like that he's at least aged well too because his music has even gotten better as he's gotten older.
Yeah,
like
Book
his
of
best,
Ryan is a
that's his best album, and it just came
Yes.
out at 40.
I agree with
If
that.
it wasn't for that, he probably doesn't make my list.
Oh, wow. So that he
That
got
was a
you got
great
pushed.
album.
And he's become
Because
a
he's been one of my favorites for a while.
But that kind of pushed him, elevated
because
him
this
there.
is his best body of work now.
I think that's
You know what
great.
I'm saying?
That's great.
But on top of that, you guys know I like bars, I like punchlines.
Yep.
And he's
got
had
bars
and
for
punch
days.
people in the face.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I didn't mean to say yes.
and his rhyme scheme is like very
Fuck.
abstract, but still makes sense.
I haven't
you know what
gotten I haven't gotten into a real fight since I was 12. Don't let me get out of
So
retirement.
don't test
Anybody?
me. Come out anytime.
Yeah, because I'm not even like I know people who could fight. All right, like so that's different.
I know you like to fight.
No.
That's all. All right, moving on. Now, Nabaté.
Versus
I
5'9"
feel like there's a lot of pressure on you for this because you are the musician.
Grammy Award-winning
Grammy
musician.
Award-winning musician.
Nabaté
And
should
Ben-
be last then, no?
No. We're just gonna go in order around the table. We're
All
not
right.
gonna mess up
High
the
bar
flow.
for you.
No, I'm messing with you. I just want to put a little pressure on you. I was gonna mess with you. But go ahead. Who's your number 5?
Okay, I have
Nah.
a tie for 5.
Tie for you.
Tie for 5.
Okay.
It's really tough, but Jay-Z.
Ah.
And I mean he was always out of my top 5, but now he's kind of itch because
Interesting.
The way with him is that he's not my favorite rapper, top 10 favorite.
Right.
I'm saying when it comes favorite, but I have to be objective. His longevity is incredible from the standpoint his versatility, stories, everything. He does everything well, and he's the first hip hop billionaire too. That's another thing.
That's
Like
impactful
he was
too.
able to come from like nowhere, no hype, from the beginning of his career all the way up to be greatness, know?
Right.
And that's the thing. And I mean, like I said, he's not my favorite top 10 favorite rapper, but I respect him. So I put him in 5. I don't, I know we all got to give a, so I'll run through and G-Rap. G-Rap,
Gucci, yeah.
Ty,
Cool G-Rap.
he's
Yeah.
the
He
king.
almost made my list.
He's the king
Cool G-Rap.
of like that mafioso gangster, that Jay,
That
Nas,
inspired those guys.
Wu,
Yeah.
all that. Like
Yeah.
G-Rap is the originator. Also,
I got nobody from Wu on my list.
multi-syllabic rhymes. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
His double time, his speed, his storytelling. I mean, every Rose of Riches. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it's like just amazing. You know, Ill Street Blues, all that.
Yeah,
G-Rap should be getting more.
He does not.
More acclaim
You're right.
than he does.
You're right.
And he's still relevant now.
We got to move through these a little
Agreed.
quicker because we're running out of time.
Yeah, Jamal, go ahead. What you got for number 5?
Not out of
Can
time,
I
but
have
low.
a three-way tie or no?
No, there's no three-way ties,
So
bro.
I'll go
Just 2.
two-way
Look,
tie.
I left some tough
Someone's
people off, so.
One dude's getting left off.
It's all good. People got to get left off.
My two-way tie for 5th is Rakim. Is the first one.
Okay.
God.
I don't. I just couldn't have a list without him. My criteria is more like, in your prime.
Yeah.
How you affected me, like your lyricism in your prime at that time.
You spit hot fire.
It was just. People. You'd never heard anything like that. His voice.
Yo, the
you know
God
what I'm
MC.
saying? He could rhyme on top of it. He just took. It was like almost like the birth of real hip hop at that time. Like you walk down. I just remember like being a little kid walking down the street and hearing that in people's cars. It's like you just be like, yo, this shit is real out here.
He was spitting like nobody else was at that time.
Yeah.
So,
Eric beat
so,
Rakim.
so you have Rakim tied with
I got Rakim tied with 3,000 because
3 stacks.
Yep.
3
I
stacks.
I didn't want to have all New York dudes.
See,
And this dude is, just a master lyricist. I gotta give him his props. Mad versatile.
Oh, yeah.
Can do all kinds of stuff. I still think he's a little underrated.
All right,
He is.
yeah.
He is.
A lot of people give his props.
Some people are gonna, and it's funny because somebody on my list is gonna have this issue too. But people are gonna discredit him because he doesn't have like a solo joint that's out, and people are gonna. Some people
I mean,
don't
the
like
love below. The love below's on him.
I think we
It's
got the
different.
same
different
person.
discs.
That was a double disc.
It's the speaker box is big boy.
Yeah,
and
so
love below is
I
his.
always hear that criticism, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't care.
It don't
I
matter.
don't care.
Dex,
But Love
What I've
Below,
heard from
he
him,
was
he's a
singing.
beast.
Dex, you're
Number
5.
5 for me. This is gonna probably shock some people here. Kendrick Lamar.
I got him in my top 10. So
Kendrick Lamar. I think he's first 2 albums in
K-Dot's fire, man.
Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly.
No,
classics to
Section
me.
80 counts too.
Section 80 you could count if you wanted.
and Damn
to.
is a classic too.
I think he's
Won him a
amazing
Pulitzer.
lyrically. I think he's already up there with these guys. It was tough for me to bump some other guys out like Rakim and some other dudes out, but I think this dude is special musically and lyrically. And I know we got to move, so I'm going to say it. Anybody here knows I love Kendrick. I'm not going to put him in the GOAT status, but I think he's right bubbling on that precipice of being up there. And I think
Look,
what he's
one
come out
more
with is good.
classic album, he's got to be there. And to some people, he's already in that conversation.
Yeah, go ahead. Number 4.
4 for me is Black Thought. I mean, look, so what I love about the Roots is, right, they're kind of that like neo soul kind of jazz sound to them. And what I love about the Roots as a band is they're all incredible musicians, right?
Yes.
Their musicianship is so high. To me, Black Thought's voice and his rapping skill, that is the equivalent of Questlove on the drums. Like that, he's incredible. Like the way the subject matter he talks about with complexity, like we all saw the 10-minute freestyle on Flex. I was
still
like,
play that.
Who is that dude? Like, I was like,
I'm gonna bump that on the way home.
he is nice with it, and again, he doesn't get a lot of fanfare because the Roots
Like
are
3
just
stacks.
they're a weird kind of thing, right? Because they're on Fallon and they don't whatever.
Yeah, but
and
they made classics.
But they
like,
go,
all
man.
And their albums have gotten better as they've gotten older.
I'll listen to the Roots for days.
For the sake of saving time, I'm going to also say that my number 4 is also Black Thought, so we can just save time on that.
And my number 4 is too.
Is 4
as well.
So we
The
do what?
the longevity,
Yeah.
and he's a real musician.
You know that
because-
term in jazz or in blues, worrying the line? You know?
Yeah,
right.
Yo,
Right.
when I hear Thought, I'm like, yo.
Yeah,
This
And
cat is nice with
I
it.
want to say something about him.
technical. He's the favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
In my list, and this kind of goes to your point with 3 stacks, you can probably say in terms of pure rapping ability, like he's the best person
ever.
Like there's very few people that rap better than those 2 dudes. Like in terms of pure rapping,
nice with it.
like I'm not putting him in the best because I think we have other things that we all factor in for whatever reasons. But in terms of pure rapping,
So
Thought could rap with
Thought up
anybody.
there, yeah.
So
Thought
we all 3 of us have him at 4.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So who do you guys have it for?
Freddie Gibbs. Favorite.
Is anybody shocked that Freddie Gibbs is not one?
Favorite.
I'm shocked he's not one.
No, but here's
man.
why.
That's
Here's
Brian's
why.
man.
Here's why. Now, I receive some of the current music probably differently because this is my era, right?
Right, yeah.
So
Yo, man, forget your area.
I'm getting. So I'm looking at guys that I grew up listening
course,
to, right? And he right now, I mean, He just dropped his best project.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like
He's speaking to you.
He has a very strong body of work. Like this is sort of what I'm growing up around now. So perhaps it's a little bit of living in the moment. But in terms of favorite MCs, now if I have a list of top 10 best MCs, he's not there yet. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is favorite MCs, yeah, I'm putting him up there. And listen, there are a lot of dudes that if we did top 10, then you'll see some other names that will probably surprise you. But for the sake of time, let's keep it moving. But like,
all right, Jamal, you're 4.
The great KRS-One.
Yo, also underrated. Does not get the respect he deserves.
You know why? He's a 5%er. That's why.
Boom bap, and backpack
People be off that.
rapper.
People off that.
He might have been the most influential rapper when I was growing up. I mean, skills. He proved he can do it on both levels. The first criminal-minded. He was rapping. He was on some gangster shit. Yeah. Totally destroying a whole borough. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm a Queens dude, and I was like, yo, I love KRS.
And then he flipped it to the conscious rap.
Yeah,
and did that perfectly. Yeah, no, you know what I'm saying?
Nice.
And he could. And I saw him like a year ago at the MTV.
And can rock a show.
And when he said back in the day, I'll be ripping the microphone till I'm motherfucking 60. He's doing it. He's still ripping mics.
Yeah, that's true.
He is doing it.
But you know what's funny? I still have never seen him live, and that's disappointing. Yeah, he's one of. I've never seen him live.
And Jarod, Dexter, and Nabaté all had Black Thought.
All had Black Thought at 4, so we skipped over that. Number 3, Jarod, you.
Queensbridge, stand up. My man Nasir Jones.
Nasir Jones.
Someone asked me once if you had to describe Nas in a phrase, what would you say? And I said a literal poet on wax.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's just so smooth when it comes out, right? Like, I mean, we don't. First of all, this podcast is called Ain't Hard to Tell, so I don't even gotta like really do any defending. Right? I mean,
exactly.
I mean,
and I'll say he's my 3rd too.
Yeah.
Nas is my 3rd.
All right.
Illmatic. I mean, that's the best piece of hip hop work.
I agree.
And I love Illmatic. And Brian and I talked about this. I don't want people like get on me for it. I love the joint after that, as was written, like, cause I was like,
it was written dope,
though. Absolutely.
But that's why
I was the G sucking his. I was like,
and we already.
How you like me now?
Yeah,
I'll go blow.
Right. Listen,
like a gun.
We already did this on another podcast, but we were talking about how his catalog is actually very underrated. I think because a lot of people like to focus on some of the other stuff.
Right. Thank you. The only
because his first 2
his catalog is absolutely right. And Lost Tapes 2 coming out, and that that looks like it's gonna be.
What's the last one he came out with?
Life is Good.
Life is Good.
Oh, that's it?
With the one
Kanye?
with Kanye?
Yeah.
I'm still bumping stuff. Like,
Really?
I put new stuff.
I didn't get into that.
I got into it. Like,
I'm not into that project.
I'm telling you, give it a re-listen. I'm still listening to that stuff like a year and a half later.
I'll tell you what was dope in that project. What was the first song with the Slick Rick sample? What was that track?
The Cop Shot the Kid?
Cop Shot the Kid.
That was cool.
Yo, that track was dope.
That sample annoyed me. But
really? I like
But
that.
Queensbridge, Nasir Jones.
My number 3, Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
And you already touched on it.
High. Wow.
The strongest catalog out of any rapper right now. Like rapping right
in terms
now.
Of rappers.
In terms of like dudes that were born in the 80s, I guess you would say. And you could even lump it. He has one of the strongest catalogs ever right now.
I agree with that.
Right
I
now.
don't think it's crazy.
I'm including Section 80. I'm including his mixtape before that, which was
Overly Dedicated.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
Like,
the Kendrick Lamar EP too.
Yeah,
before that.
Like he's been consistent. He hasn't had a Nostradamus or a Magna Carta Holy Grail yet.
God, Jay, Jesus, dog.
Still not bad as Nostradamus.
His last one was close to flawless.
But you know.
Yeah,
and that's not even my favorite.
My least favorite.
I like
one.
Section 80. Section 80 might be my favorite just because that was my soundtrack my senior year of high school. So I sort of received that.
And that's the thing about it's about where it hits you in your life and what it means is always a nostalgia kind of.
That's why I like
Slick Rick is.
That's why Freddie Gibbs is one of my guys. That's why Joe Budden was one of my guys when I was in high school as well.
Gotcha. You're number 3.
I would say Eminem. Eminem, because let me tell you, like, it's so funny for him to be a white MC, and the thing was that he was a battle rapper, true freestyler,
that Viking
as versatile of an MC musically as ever it can be, and also too, he took this hip hop game seriously. You know what I mean? He wasn't a Vanilla Ice.
Listen,
you see what I'm saying? That type of vibe.
Until like 2004.
But I'm saying Rap God. Come on now, that was much later than 2004. He shows that's the greatest. I think the greatest bars in a song that I've ever heard. rap
Wow.
God. What he's 7 minutes, all different types of rhythmic things he was doing. Different, ridiculous.
All right, we got to have another podcast.
He has a.
Oh, we could do hip hop discussion.
I'm not agreeing with that, but M does have like
He could out rap just about anybody ever. My issue is with his catalog post 2000.
That's my problem with him too.
But I'm saying
this is
like,
your list.
his prime though is like up there with it, So yeah,
I just think his prime was done by the time Encore came around. Where we at now?
Jamal, did Jamal say something?
He was not. So he was not.
Oh, you also have Nas.
All right, so two. We're already at two. Let's go.
Wait,
No,
I didn't
three.
get my
You
number
did
3.
I thought you gave me 3.
No, I didn't get my 3. My 3 is the great Notorious B.I.G.
Okay.
Obviously, I think most people 2 classics. Brian doesn't agree with me with this, but I think Life After Death is a better album than Ready to Die.
Life After Death is a classic.
I like both albums though.
They're both classics. I think just the thing Big had for me was delivery and the way he could just come on the track, command everything, his lyricism, go from the gangster to the funny to the, just great storytelling.
Turn my beat up.
Yeah,
Turn the headphones up.
Yeah, like he was just so talented
and exploited
ahead
his
of
own insecurities.
Yeah.
Yes, and was so ahead of his time.
Heartthrob
in that.
never, black and ugly as ever. However,
Yeah.
I say Gucci down to the side.
He has one of the best flows ever.
Yeah,
he has one of the
his
best
flow
flows
and
ever.
delivery was just like, it's so easy when you're like, especially being older. All of us who are older here, like 35 plus.
Yeah, man.
When you're at a place and somebody turns on Juicy or turns on More Money or
Ready to
Follow,
Die.
and
Like,
everybody knows the
Even
songs.
20-year-olds
know it.
No,
Because
I know
the
it
impact
works.
of the rapping and how easy it is to pick up his flow and his cadence and stuff like that is still so dope and so impactful in hip hop. So
Stop gentrifying Brooklyn.
Well,
All right, number 2.
take your time. That's my number 2, Notorious B.I.G. Bed-Stuy, I mean, all the things you just said. He could rhyme fast. He could rhyme slow. He could do it all, man. Because we were robbed from seeing him truly ascend into his craft and what he would have been. But those first 2 albums, listen.
You can put him up against
Fire.
Yeah.
Take those 2 against anybody, any rapper we name is best 2, and those 2 stand
and
up.
still nobody's ever made to me in hip hop a double album
As
that's
good as
Life After Death.
That double album
Nobody's
is
done it.
fire.
A new daily fantasy app for prop bets is here, and it's called Thrive Fantasy. Forget the old school way of DFS. Thrive Fantasy has streamlined the drafting process and eliminated the need to do unnecessary hours of research by using only top-tier athletes. That means no more salary cap. You just build your lineup around a list of prop bets. Here's how it works. For each contest, you choose 10 of the 20 prop bets, plus 2 ice picks that protect you from any late scratches or postponed games. Each unique prop has an over and under point value assigned to it, and you will be rewarded that value if the prop is correct. So for example, if Tom Brady throws for over or under 250 yards, the less likely the prop is to occur, the more points the choice will be worth. You build your team, score around the amount of correct prop bets you select. It's easy to play, so just check out the Thrive Fantasy link in the description of this podcast and get in the game with Thrive Fantasy today.
My number 2 is Black Thought.
Okay.
I think he is bar for bar probably the best rapper ever.
I have no problem with that.
And
He's nice, man.
that's pretty much where I leave it with that.
and been doing it 26,
He
27
nice.
years.
When we talk about consistency, a lot of people first immediately go to Jay-Z. Then they'll go to probably Nas. Then they'll probably go to Andre 3000. I think Black Thought needs to be up there.
But I think a lot of people overlook the roots. This period,
And this is somebody who but when the roots formed before I was born.
Yeah, 80s.
For him to still be rapping at this level, and I'm 25, is nuts. So and I also really like the roots. So there's that.
There you go.
That's
Number
indeed.
2.
Rakim. Because Rakim, when it comes to like the modern flow, from the standpoint of flow, articulation, cadence, everything like that, that came from Raw. And he was doing that 18 years old with Paid in Full. You know what I mean? Yep. And he had classics, Paid in Full, Follow the Leader, Let the Rhythm Hit Him. And Don't Sweat the Technique's not a classic, good album, but the first three,
though.
I mean, for me, Let the Rhythm Hit Him, that's my favorite Eric B. and Rakim album. You know what I mean? Because that was dark. That showed about the crack epidemic, all the stuff going on. And that's me growing up in that time of seeing Harlem dissipate and seeing where I grew up in Left Rack. Seeing, you know what I mean? Those different things. So, I mean, it was really like, it was reality. Rakim, but so versatile. And what I love too, he said he would mimic John Coltrane solos in flow and his articulation.
I read that before.
He said that, So, and Ruth Brown is on. You know, the late Ruth Brown was his aunt.
You know what? It's funny.
And he introduced internal rhyming, right?
Yeah,
a lot of internal
right.
rhyme schemes. And it's funny what I hear from everybody here, especially from some of you who are slightly older than me, is like you hear, and I think the same thing will come up later and hear from Brian too, just the impact of, like you said, where you are in your life with music and how things hit you at a certain age when you were young and like how those certain rappers. So like, I had to go back and listen to Rakim a little bit because I didn't really get into hip hop till like 93, 94. So I was kind of like that Illmatic, Enter 36 Chambers. That was kind of like my part. But like
Great
going back,
introduction.
if this is why I don't get mad at kids for not listening to now. Brian's not one of these people to do this. But like, how do you not go back and listen to how Rakim influenced the Nas, influenced the Kendrick, influenced somebody else? Like, you got to learn from the masters as you pass along. That's just me preaching for a second. Go ahead.
It's like, why don't you go back and watch old basketball also?
Yeah.
The crazy stat I read, though, is that Rakim is only like a year older than Jay-Z.
Yeah, he's 68, born in 1968. Yeah.
So it's like, it just shows you, I mean, Rakim at that time, in his prime was ridiculous.
He was nice with it.
But, you know, some dudes,
the
trajectory is different.
Yeah.
He's aged like really.
And Blueprint came out. No, wait, not Blueprint. Reasonable Doubt came out after Rakim was pretty much
Right.
Kind of like,
past his prime.
Go ahead, you too.
My two, speaking of Jay-Z, is Jay-Z. I mean, just a complete beast. I don't know what I have to say about Jay-Z. He was a bad. I mean, he started off battle rapping too.
Right.
Hear him on mixtapes. With Big L.
Him and Jazzo.
Remember that joint with him and Big L going back and forth.
Back and forth.
And then to come up and just take the game over, like he did, consistently. He's one of those dudes who I always used to say when I would try to down him for whatever reason, like comparing him to somebody else or something like that. I would say, oh well, he never had an album that I didn't have to skip a track. There was no album of his that I can remember where there was like every song I liked.
Oh wow,
Really?
Yeah, not
Reasonable Doubt or Blueprint?
Well, Reasonable Doubt was the closest for sure.
Not Blueprint?
Blueprint, nah. There were a couple joints on
Black Album?
Black Album too. There were a couple joints.
Black Album's my favorite J project.
And Black Album, maybe to me, was missing like multiple great joints to me. I thought it was all solid. Interesting. You know what I'm saying?
But again, music is subjective.
Again,
That's my
But I mean, as a total artist, other pairing on other people's joints, guest tracks,
Features,
everything,
guest
just come up,
appearances,
just be flawless on the mic almost every time.
Yeah.
Like
One take
rhyme-wise.
over.
Oh man, what he did on Bitch Kill My Vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bitch
you
Don't
saw
Kill My
that video today,
Vibe.
too?
Ignorant
Yeah,
shit.
it was
That's
circulating.
one of my joints on American Gangster. I love that.
For me, number 2 is Nas. I know we kind of went through this before, but for me, Nas was kind of like, you had your moment with Slick Rick. It's kind of, for me, it's Nas, and then it was like Illmatic and Midnight Marauders. That's kind of what got me into hip hop.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I heard "Ain't Hard to Tell." And it's funny because
It's the name of this podcast.
But the first time I heard it, I was just like, "Yo, what is like?" Because I love poetry even as a kid. And I was like, "What is this guy?"
That MJ sample. You were like,
"What is this dude spit?"
Yes.
And I remember, like you, because of the Walkman thing. I remember I got that. I recorded it on Hot 97. I didn't even have the album yet. And I was just playing it on this class trip. We were at the Museum of Natural History. I just kept playing
The best
the
field trip ever, by the way.
So I knew all the lyrics, and then my cousin got me the album. And I kind of grew up like Jarod, where my mom didn't really want me playing all that in the house. So I was like sneaking and playing. My mom heard me one time playing halftime or something, and it didn't go over too well. But man, he's just still an amazing poet.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
I know sometimes Brian and I've talked about this. His beat selection has gotten killed at times, or the fact that he put out an album like Nostradamus, which I do agree is horrible. But I still think he's one of the greatest
has some good
to
joints
ever
on
do
there,
it. Yeah. He's one of the
Project
greatest to
Windows.
ever do
like
it.
Nostradamus?
Nobody could take it. Nobody could take that away from him.
You owe me. You owe me.
To Escobar, dog.
Nah, you owe me is hard.
You owe me is a good
owe
song.
me is hard.
You owe me is a good song.
Owe me like.
Who didn't
Owe
get
me
this?
like you owe your rent.
They didn't bump me with
on.
Genuine.
Yo.
I'll admit it. I bumped that heavy.
Yes.
All right, we got to get to our number one.
I mean, number one, no surprise, Hove. I mean, all the things that we said. I mean, the catalog. Look, for me, Reasonable Doubt, Volume 2. Listen, I liked it, right? Whatever.
That's on the weaker end of his catalog to
But
me.
I liked it.
Volume 2?
Black Album.
Yeah.
Blueprint.
But Reservoir Dogs, the greatest.
That's a
the
great
greatest
posse track.
Blueprint 2.
Ever.
Like, yo, man, American Gangster. Listen.
Those are his 4 best albums. I agree with
Magna
that.
Carta Holy Ground.
That's his Nostradamus.
You know.
Yes.
that joint is not fresh.
And don't forget Blueprint 3, too.
Blueprint 3.
I didn't like
Four,
Blueprint.
four,
You know I love Blueprint 3 because it got all.
What? Oh,
I like Blueprint 3 a lot.
We talked about this a lot.
I mean, Jay could rap in a variety of different ways. Fast, slow, all the different styles. And also what I liked, he evolved over time. We know the man started off with a G-Pack, right? That's how he was a drug dealer. That's how he started off in this game. As he got better, it was all about the floss, the ice, whatever. Now it's about Basquiat's and whatever the hell, and
Black empowerment,
right? And bonds for his kids. Listen, he's
His
58,
wife.
right? He's almost 60 years old now. And he's got twins and another.
I don't know if he's almost 60.
He's 47, 48.
Whatever. Listen, he old. My point is, he raps now.
He'll be 50 this year.
He does dad rap because he's a dad.
Yeah, he's 50 in December.
That's what
December
he does.
4th, he'll
So
be 50.
I don't have any issue with
So
that.
Jay, the number one.
Yeah.
We know who your number one is.
Nazir Jones.
We got it. We got it.
I will just tell this quick story. When I was 7 years old, Stillmatic came out. Because remember, I
2
was
years
born.
ago.
I was born right before Illmatic dropped.
Right.
But Stillmatic came out, and that was when MTV actually showed music videos. So that's where I started like getting with Nas, because One Mic used to play on heavily all the time. And I actually remember, I think one of the first hip hop songs I ever heard was Nas's Like, which I was like 5. Because remember, I do have an older brother who's
Half
around
man, half
y'all
amazing.
age. Yeah, I do have an older brother that's around y'all age. So, I would hear a lot of that stuff. And for me personally, I think he has the best catalog ever. That's just me personally.
Okay.
So
Number one.
My number
Jay
one-
up there too, though.
my
We're not
number
going to
one,
do this.
I agree with homeboy here, Nas, because Nas is more than a rapper. He's more than an artist. Like, he transcends from the standpoint of, like, when it comes to telling stories, not just about the music industry, but about black people, about black culture, about history, things like that. And also, it comes from Oludara, his father, jazz musician, and one of the most wisest people I've ever met and talked to in my life, And that's the thing. Like, Nas is so well educated on the culture, black culture, also government, politics, things like that, and he intertwines it in his storytelling and in his prophecy. He's always predicted stuff as well through his lyrics. So he's more than a rapper, and that's why Nas is number one from that standpoint. And that's why he's getting more of a cult following, more and more as he's gotten older. The cat is going to be standing the test of time for
and
sure.
Lost Tapes 2 is about to come out, and Life is Good.
It's gonna be good.
Very, very underrated
album.
Yeah, I
Yes,
agree with that.
very,
Very
very,
underrated.
and also Untitled too. You know what I'm saying? He said some deep stuff on that album.
Untitled, yeah.
So yeah.
We good.
I gotta go Biggie, man.
Okay,
number
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
I mean, just we could go back to the theme, like where you were. I remember. I think this is the only album that I can remember exactly where I was when I heard
Life
it.
After Death?
No, the first.
The first one. Ready to Die.
Ready to Die. His introduction to hip hop was Ready to Die. I remember where I was when I first heard it. It was like it wasn't even the official version. It was like the pre-version of it.
Yeah.
It was like a different version of Me and My Bitch. It had a different beat to
Yes.
it.
Yes. Okay.
So and just like you said, no question, the best flow ever.
So good, man.
I mean, to me, he kind of like he was reminiscent to me of like Sam Cooke.
Yeah,
like
man.
In R&B, like one of those dudes you hear and you're just like, what the?
It's that voice, man.
Like-
It was
like-
so
like
smooth.
the perfect, R&B voice, singing voice.
Yeah.
So Big to me was like that, like the perfect hip hop. Like he was the one who turned he turned the corner from just hardcore to rhyming over the R&B beats, but keeping it real
hard still.
Yeah.
in that genre, and people still of course doing that now.
Those creep me and they teepee.
So the longevity
Chicken heads be
doesn't do anything. Doesn't hurt him to me because it's about in your prime
and impact.
And remember, him and Jay-Z were both together. They were
Yeah.
both rhyming at the time.
Yeah.
And Jay-Z wasn't sniffing Biggie at that time.
No.
And Jay is older than Big,
and
Victory
which-
is one of my favorite songs.
And which
ever.
gets me to
And the
something else.
commission.
The commission.
Yeah.
That was supposed to come out.
I knew those verses word for word when I was 9 years old.
Oh God.
Which is
you were
also-
saying this so
also
aggressively.
explains so much of your
about you.
aggressive nature.
I had Fight Night 2004 was in the game. I had to look. Yo, real
And you were
quick.
playing boxing.
No, but real quick, we had like an American Idol-ish event when I was in like the 3rd grade or whatever.
did that
I
rap.
wanted to rap Victory.
Yeah, and they were like, nah,
they
son.
didn't want to let me.
Shocking.
And I didn't know why because I
8-year-olds can't be cursing on
You had the
stage.
edited version?
I only heard the clean version. So when I went to look up the real version of the song, I was like, oh shit. Like that's what you know what I'm saying?
To my people in the world, where you at?
I didn't hear that in the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Busta came on that.
Yo, my number one is Jay-Z. I think some people have talked about it before. Accomplishments. I think he is the best catalog. Out of anybody. I think he has 3 classics, 2 other albums that I think are pretty close to it.
Yeah.
I do agree with Jamal that at the time, I remember when I was in middle school and Life After Death came out, which was a year after Reasonable Doubt came out. I remember everybody was on that album, and I was kind of in this camp even then. I really liked Reasonable Doubt. I think Reasonable Doubt gets a credit now, but for those who remember at the time, remember, it did not get 5 mics in the source. Right. It got 3.5 mics in the source.
And went platinum later.
I was
but I was feeling it as a real, I was 19 at the time. Yeah, I was that was like fresh. Yeah, summer after my freshman year of college.
Yeah, for me, I like the jazz sound on that album a lot, and I think a lot of the hip hop I've always liked has had a jazz influence and samples in that. So I like that a lot, and just the way Jay was flowing, kind of this, gangster, hustler mentality just come out.
They hit you with feeling it, and you like,
yeah, I still love that album. Some people can argue
Regrets,
one of my favorite songs
ever
in hip hop. Yep. Some people can argue Blueprint's one of his better album, but I just think great artist has lasted the test of time. I love what he's doing now. I love what he did with 444. Kind of made the album that I felt where he just didn't care and just made the album that he thought was about him at this time and didn't try to pander to commercial success like he did on Magna Carta Holy Grail, which I did not care for.
I didn't mind that one.
And I didn't care for that album.
I didn't mind it.
About to close us out.
And one more thing about I didn't mention about Nas, the specialty songs he's done. Rhyming like a gun, rhyming backwards, rhyming off his rhyme book. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And rhyming like a woman. Because let me tell you, that female verse on Street Disciple, that's him.
Yes,
Picture this way. No doubt about it.
All dope stuff.
Lost Tapes 2, that production list, you could put that up against any album that he's had in terms of the quality of producers.
Yeah, it looks pretty good coming out.
This is the best group of producers he's worked with on paper
we'll see.
since Illmatic.
Because these are all tracks that were throwaway tracks
from his last 3
from
albums.
the last four albums, dating back to Untitled.
Well, yes, you're right.
No, Hip Hop is Dead.
Right, but Lost Tapes were throwaway tracks. And
let me throw out a couple honorable mentions that I mentioned. Big Pun,
Ghostface Killer,
and Big Daddy Kane.
Ghostface Killer.
Kane.
Nobody mentioned Kane. Yeah, Kane on here. Anybody any honorable mentions?
Ghostface Killer, Big L,
Kane,
Jay-Z. There was a modern dude I'm missing. Joe Budden.
Kane, Kendrick for me,
Yeah, for me, four names in my top 10 I didn't mention. Big,
Rakim.
Big, Kendrick, Pac, and who was he? Big, Kendrick, Pac. Oh, and KRS. Yeah, those are
I had 3 stacks. Common.
Common.
Common. I forgot on there. I'm trying to think who else I'd really
and Most Def and Quali.
Either one of them.
For the old school, LL Cool J,
who does not get the respect he deserves.
No, he yes.
Nobody put Drake in the top 5 or top 10.
No.
Okay. All right.
But you know what?
Sniffing my top.
Does
10.
But
as an artist,
before we go real quick, does everybody have some people kind of mention everybody have a favorite hip hop album? I know for us it's Illmatic.
Illmatic, yeah.
You?
Ooh, wow. Favorite album.
His is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
You're actually, you know what? You're right. That is my
so overrated.
That is. Stop it.
Okay, no. Oh, that's a great album.
Thank you, Nabaté.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Nabaté.
Okay, I'm gonna name.
The musician just said what it is.
Go ahead, Nabaté.
I'm gonna name 3.
No, we said 1.
Yo, we gotta get out of here, bro.
Can I tie 2?
Go ahead.
All right. To Pimp a Butterfly.
Oh, yes.
And It Takes a Nation of Millions.
Yes.
All of his back. You know what I'm saying? PE.
Okay.
So
but I know you don't talk about because we talked about it once in the bar over drinks. So I know how much you know.
It's Illmatic, but that's been named. But the tie would be Criminal Minded.
Criminal Minded.
Yeah. That's
beautiful. KRS. All right, thank y'all for this hip hop discussion. It was very good. If you is it episode 88? We're gonna do numbers. If you like this, please let us know. Send us your comments. Let us know on Twitter, whatever, what your favorite albums or rappers are.
Okay, I'm gonna go fast because we gotta get out of here. Harvin Marison.
Marvin Harris.
Can't say the name. Can't say the name. You already know why. Tony Gonzalez, Nicholas Batum, The Cool Kids, Michael Irvin, Demarius Thomas, Lynn Swan, Eric Lindros, Des Bryant, Patrick Kane, Al Toon, Greg Olson, Hakeem Nicks, Keith Jackson, Ike Hilliard.
Oh, Marvin Harris.
Oh,
careful.
Marvin's better.
I don't know Nabaté Isles, so nobody come talking to me about nothing. I don't know this dude.
Shout out to Bomani.
I don't know this dude. Don't come looking for me with nothing.
What happened?
We'll tell you off air.
Okay, I didn't know. Marvin Harrison, baby.
man.
The juice.
Wait, hold on. Did you get the Cool Kids reference?
No.
They made the song 88. So that was,
I might go
No,
Michael
okay.
Irvin.
Yeah, playmaker.
I gotta go
Playmaker.
Irvin. Irvin's who I think about when I think 88.
Playmaker.
Marvin Harrison,
Irvin's who I
though.
think
Like,
about.
he's Marvin Harrison, much more prolific
know- I
career.
don't know what you're
Much
talking
more
about.
prolific career.
It's the Michael Irvin episode.
Boo!
I don't know what
right,
you're
but-
talking about.
Wait a minute.
you know who likes Michael Irvin, right?
Who?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Did that surprise you
wow.
at all?
No, not surprised. Now I think about it.
Confrontational, yeah.
Yeah,
that's the kind of
not
guy.
surprised at all. about
Playmaker,
that.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah, not surprised about that at all.
I
All right.
remember I grew up with a Chad Johnson poster in my room.
Oh, Jesus.
Chad Ocho single. I should say.
All right, that's it. That's it for episode 80 of the AHTT Podcast. For Jarod Hector, Brian Fonseca, Nabaté Isles, Jamal Murphy, I'm Dexter. Until next time, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.